We are joined with another one of our sponsors today. We've got Paul and we've got Randy, and they're part of the Simpson and Associates legal team that have helped us out throughout this journey of getting this race up and going. So first of all, I just wanted to say thank you to both of you, because a running event like this, or an event like this, requires a lot of support from the community and sponsors like you guys to make it successful. So without you guys, we wouldn't be able to do this. There'd be nothing that the runners wouldn't even be able to run. So thank you so much for helping us out with the race. So first of all, why don't you guys introduce yourselves and tell us what you do for the organization?
My name is Randy Simpson. I'm the, senior partner sounds pretty old. The managing partner, and I practice happy law. So I do wills and estates, real estate, and we act for about 500 small and medium-sized businesses.
My name's Paul McWilliams. I'm Randy's partner in our firm. I focus on civil litigation, so lawsuits, if you're commencing one or if you're suddenly defending against one, that's my area of focus. I do work with other lawyers and staff in the organization, but that's what I focus on.
Right on. Well, thanks for joining us today. So you're a local, you're part of the local community, you're a local business. How long have you been in operation for?
So our current iteration, other than a minor adjustment a year ago in the name, has been about 4.5 years. But we trace our roots back to John Ashton, who set up one of the first law practices in Sherwood Park in 1965. And so we've been, John Ashton retired in 2007, about the time I started operating in association with a man by the name of Patrick Reed. And when Patrick retired in 2018, that's when Simpson Associates became one, and we continue on those practices. And Paul joined us
2018.
Yeah, shortly after we created the new firm.
So 1965, I should know this because I recently was looking into Sherwood Park history. That must have been before it was Sherwood Park. It must have been Campbelltown back then.
I believe it was.
Yeah, that's incredible. So the law firm that really kind of started with the whole community itself. That's pretty neat. So tell us about all the different people that make up your legal firm.
Yeah, so we've got a mix of sort of lawyers and support staff. We have 3 lawyers, Randy, myself, and another lawyer who practices family law. That's the team of lawyers. And then we have some support staff that they're really actually the backbone of the law firm. They do a lot of the heavy lifting. We're really grateful for their work. We have paralegals or legal assistants that support us in various roles. I have I have 2 assistants working with me in civil litigation, and in another capacity we have a receptionist, and we have a few on the upstairs where Randy works.
Yeah, we have a wonderful office manager, and I have to say nice things because I think she's listening. Jackie keeps she lets me practice law, lets us all both practice law. And then I have 3 other paralegals I work with regularly as well. And we're grateful for those professionals in our firm, and we're grateful for their part in making us a firm that is fun to be part of.
Right on. Yeah, it really makes a big difference. Well, to have a team that really operates as a family, but it kind of bleeds into the customer service and out to your clients that they can really tell that. So that's good to hear. So I'm going to kind of go into you practice in the side of the wills, and I talked to you a little bit about this before we started, and I'm doing this for my mother. So first of all, why is it important for everybody to have a will?
Well, a will allows you to express what you'd like to happen with your estate, and to set out who you'd like to do the distribution of your estate. If you don't have a will in place and you die, someone has to volunteer, essentially be an administrator, and that person that volunteers may not be the person you'd want to act and handle your estate. So with the will, you name a personal representative. That person will take charge of your estate on your death and make sure that it's gathered together properly, that the debts are paid, and that the assets are distributed the way you want it distributed.
Right on. And so my mom bought a CD from Staples around 20 years ago and did her own will through that. Now, what should I be telling my mom?
Well, first of all, you should say thank you, Mom, for at least thinking about having a will. Because I read just a few years ago, I was reading that approximately 50% of Canadians over the age of 60 do not have wills in place. Now, COVID has increased that, decreased the number of people without wills. I think a lot of people realized it was a good time to get one in place. But as far as a will goes, it should be personalized. It should have the person you want as your personal representative. It should distribute the assets the way you want. And you may need some advice on how you do that. You may want to have some specific gifts to people, and you want to list those out. And then you may want to have the residue shared among people in a certain way. You may want to have trust provisions in there if you have, particularly if you have people who are under the age of 18, minors, or if you have someone who's an adult that requires some assistance with things. So you may want to set up a trust for that individual. Or if they're receiving government assistance through something like AISH, if their gift is not properly structured, they can lose their benefits, their AISH benefits. So it's good to have advice. And not only good, it's critical that you have advice. It's also critical. You said your mother did this will 20 years ago. In 2010, the Wills and Succession Act was a major amendment to wills legislation in Alberta. And so anything that was created before 2010 should get a serious look at it. And at any rate, anytime there's major events in your life, you should look at whether or not your will needs to be updated. So I think probably, Mom, it's a good time to come and visit us. I'll be gentle.
Right on. Okay, I'm gonna have to record that, and well, it is recorded, but I'm gonna have to give that to my mom. That's some really good advice. Thank you for that. So we have our viewers here. There are a lot of runners out there, and you guys helped us a lot with a lot of the legal documentation to put on so we could do this race. But when we runners go to events like this, we have to sign a waiver. What's some advice you can give us runners about things that we should be cautious about when overlooking some of these things or reading these waivers?
Well, I'll make a comment first, and I'll turn it over to Paul. So sometimes some people ask me, well, why do we have to have a waiver? It's not fair. It's not reasonable. The challenge is, for an event like this, it would not be possible without waivers because the organization could not afford insurance. Here in Sherwood Park, we won't be having a candidate parade this year because the organization, the local Chamber of Commerce that's been sponsoring it for the last few years, can't afford the insurance for it. And so a waiver is important to ensure that you can participate in events like this. And Paul, you want to talk a little bit about the waivers?
Sure, I'll take the other side of that. I would say to anyone that's going to sign a waiver, whenever you're going to do anything that might affect your legal rights, read it carefully. Also, probably get some legal advice if you don't understand it. You may be giving up rights that you don't understand, and you might not understand the ramifications of giving up those rights. So it's always a good idea, if you don't understand a legal document, talk to a lawyer. Try and get a sense of what you're doing and what the long-term impacts or effects of that could be. That being said, we love events like this happening in the community. We've just seen so many situations where sometimes people haven't read things, or the right amount of due diligence hasn't been conducted, and people find themselves in hot water. So always take your time. Be cautious. Read the fine print.
So kind of like my mom when she bought that will package where it said on the box, "This is not a legal will." She should have read that. So I don't know if that's true or not. Okay, fantastic. So I guess now moving on to the Survivorfest, what was it that encouraged you to partner with the race?
Well, I had the good fortune to meet Laura Townsend, who's the power behind this, or has been for a few years, and got to know Laura, and she is a force to be reckoned with, and wonderful lady. And she approached me about providing some assistance with the initial Survivorfest. And when she was explaining that the funds raised from this event, the event by itself is fantastic, but the funds being raised are going to Saffron Center. And the Saffron Center, it's so important to have an organization like Saffron in our community. Sort of like people don't want to talk about wills, they don't want to talk about sexual abuse or sexual exploitation, and they certainly don't want to have people, they want somebody there if something happens, but they don't want to have people telling them that it might happen. And Saffron not only looks after helping people who have experienced sexual abuse or sexual exploitation, but it also provides training on how to avoid it. And what a wonderful organization. And at the time that Survivorfest was first starting, I was good friends with the executive director at Saffron as well, and what an opportunity! It's wonderful to be able to have these resources in our community, and we're part of this community. We want to support it. Paul?
Yeah, I think in general, we really want to support those in the community that are most vulnerable. And this probably is one of those instances where we can support a cause where those people that might not have support otherwise, if that support's there, when you're in a crisis, it's really handy. So yeah, we support that.
Totally. And so we actually had Roxanne, the executive chair, on from the Saffron today, 10. So if you go back to the first stream, you can actually look back 2 hours into that. And yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, before Survivorfest, I didn't know much at all about the Saffron Center, but you know, getting more and more involved with this race and the message that Laura is really trying to get out there is what an important organization that is, and how critical it is for us to try to find funding for them. And I mean, they provide so much support in counseling the impacted individuals, or the victims, or the survivors, we should say, but also really looking at this proactively, and looking at how we can teach our youth to look out for predators and how they need to be safe on the internet. So my daughters have gone through I have a daughter that's in grade 7, and she went through that program this year, and it needs funding. It needs to expand. I met one of the educators. They have 2 educators in Sherwood Park that go to all the schools, and one thing Laura's would love to see is that presence in the schools, in every single school, because it is that important. So yeah, I agree. And going back to your comment about how you got involved with Survivorfest, Laura, that's the key thing. Like, everyone's like, Laura, she is, anyone that has not met Laura, she is a ball of energy, and I don't understand where it comes from, but she does have an infectious personality, and she has such big dreams of where this event, where she wants to take this event, and you guys have helped a lot to try to get it to where it is even today. And if you look back to the first event compared to where we are this event, it's quite spectacular. So you kind of touched on it, but why is supporting the local community really important to you guys in your business?
Well, for me, our family's been in Sherwood Park for 33 years. We moved here in 1989, and our family's grown up in Sherwood Park, and we've been the beneficiaries of the generosity of people in Sherwood Park in terms of helping our children learn how to ride bikes, back with pedal pushers, helping them through sports and through different activities, and they're adults now, and we're grateful for that. And I'm someone who thrives on helping other people. And if you don't believe me, because I'm a lawyer, and you might not, my wife is standing off to the side, and she limits the amount of volunteering I can do. She tries to keep me at home some nights, I guess, but it's wonderful just to see organizations like this thrive, and to see people with Laura's tenacity and her energy helping our community to grow and to prosper. And we've been blessed personally as a family, but as a law firm, we've been blessed. I think probably 90% of our work we do is referrals from other clients, and we value the community. We've started a program we were looking at how we could help as a law firm to give back, and we started a program called Simpson Associates Planting Program, or SAP for short. And I'll let Paul explain what SAP is.
Yeah, it's a bit sappy now. It's a program where what we try and do is we try and find a partner in the community where we can work with them to have some volunteer time, where we can leave the office and we can get out and plant trees, because we noticed as lawyers we tend to generate a lot of paper. We use paper for a lot of things. We're trying to wean ourselves off of it and become more of a paperless office, but in the meantime, because we're using so much paper, we wanted to give back in the form of tree planting. So last year we ended up working and participating with the City of Edmonton's Root for Trees program. And so Root for Trees is wonderful. It's a program where employees from the City of Edmonton have locations around the city, and you can meet with them on a specific date. And they provide plants and shrubs and trees. They give you a bit of education about benefits of the program, and then they have some shovels, they teach you some safety, and you plant. So we did that for an afternoon last year, and planning on doing that again this year. It was a really good event for our firm. Other corporate entities or firms or organizations can join in. We worked with another organization that was there last year as well, and we hope to work with others this year. So yeah, it's a really good way that we can give back to the environment as well. We think it's a good community initiative, and it's really good to see the long-term impacts of that. We can go back today and see how the vegetation is doing, how it went, in the last year, and if we do that over a number of years, it would be a really good long-term event for us, at least.
Yeah, and we're active in the local chamber of commerce because it allows us to participate in the community. Pre-COVID, my wife and I actually ended up being the parade marshals for the parade, because nobody else had volunteered to do it. And it's wonderful to go out and see the friends. Sherwood Park is such a great community that way. You can rarely go out any place without seeing somebody which used to drive my children crazy. They said, "Dad, you don't have to talk to everybody," but we love the community. It's great to be part of this event. It's great to be here on a beautiful day. No rain.
Oh, it's been an incredible day. It looks like there could be a little bit of a system moving in, but hopefully that blows towards that way, I guess, south. So yeah, I know I got a couple flashbacks there. You mentioned pedal pushers, and I went to pedal pushers. I remember doing it, and I looked into pedal pushers when my kids were young, and I don't think they have it anymore, which is too bad. But it was a great program, and yeah, I have one more, and actually I should say we have a little bit of a link, myself and Laura, to Root for Trees, because we had an individual in our running group that was part of that, and yeah, it's a really fantastic program that they have going on there. Well, one more question for you before we wrap this up. So we started. We had a new event this year. We had a couple new races this year, but one is the relay teams we have this year. And so should we be signing you up or looking forward to a 2023 relay team, 6-hour relay team next year?
Maybe next year. I was a cross-country runner in high school, so maybe that's my opportunity to resurrect that. And, I don't know. How are you feeling about that, Randy?
Well, I'm glad that Laura's open to new ideas, because I had proposed one to her earlier. I volunteered for the 6-minute run. But if I could do a relay on a 6-minute run, then I could really give it my all. So I'll take it under advisement.
Okay.
But
yeah, I'll raise it up at the next meeting that we have too. That the 6-minute relay. That's pretty good. Oh, fantastic. Thanks so much for joining us, guys. And once again, thanks a lot for your support. It really means a lot to us, and we're very thankful to be partnering with you guys. So
thank you for allowing us to be here. This is a wonderful event, and we're grateful for all the people that volunteer and do so much to put this event on.
Yeah, you bet. Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it.
Okay. And we'll be back in just maybe 10 minutes, and we'll bring you some more stories from hopefully some crew members I can wrangle up, or maybe I'll get Laura. She's always hopefully open to having a little bit of a conversation of how things are going. Talk to you in a bit.